so today we're going to talk about cash flow, what it is and why you need it. First, let's talk about the definition of cash flow. Typically, it's used in business, and in business, cash flow means the money that flows in and out of a business. When we're talking about your personal finances, I use a different definition. That is the amount of money you have left over at the end of each month after paying all of your bills. So after you get paid, whether that's a business, whether that's your job, and you pay all of your living expenses, what you have left over is your cash flow. If you have money left over, it's called positive cash flow. If you have nothing left over, that's called a break-even cash flow. And if you spend more than you make each month, that's called a negative cash flow. Those are the three most dreaded words in the English language, negative cash flow. So why do you need it and why is it so important? Well, if what you're trying to do is build wealth for yourself now or in the future, you absolutely 100% need as much cash flow as you can possibly get. But I will give it a caveat. You don't want to go on a financial diet in order to create that cash flow. That's only something that can last for a temporary period of time. You've heard of crash diets that people tend to go on to, where they lose a lot of weight and then they all of a sudden gain it back and then some. Well, it's the same way with your finances. When you go on a crash financial diet, when you decide, I'm not going to Starbucks ever again, I'm not going to go out and eat McDonald's, I'm not going to go to the movies, I'm not going to buy a birthday cake, I'm not doing anything until I pay off all of my debt. The minute you start focusing on your debt in that way and you begin to go on a financial crash diet, that's the moment everything's going to start falling apart. Financial diets don't work for the long term. Now, you can be more disciplined in how you spend your money, or really what I prefer is create a spending plan. When you create a spending plan, that's something that's going to help you. You decide where you want to spend your money before you spend it. A lot of us, even myself included on occasion, will go out and we'll just spend money frivolously. We don't really pay attention to where it's going or what we want to do with it. On the other hand, when you create a spending plan, that's when you decide, you know what, instead of blowing this money, I want to go on vacation. Instead of just having it go out the door in the form of, a candy bar here or going to a convenience store and picking up some snacks, I'd rather have that money do something for me. I'd rather have that money work for me. So instead of putting in a savings account where it's doing nothing, the best bet is to use that cash flow to begin building wealth. There are lots of ways to do that. Lots of alternatives that only require a very small investment. We're talking a couple $100s that you could actually use to begin building that wealth. And so if you have cash flow, I highly recommend that you start doing that. Now, how do you get cash flow if you don't have it without financial dieting? Well, there's a few different ways that you can do that. The first that you want to think about is that financial dieting requires you cutting back on things that you enjoy or things that you typically do. Now, if you're negative cash flow, you may have to do a little bit of cutting here and there. But for the most part, even people who are break-even cash flow or have a little bit positive, you shouldn't have to do that. What we're going to do is look for ways that you can reduce your monthly living expenses without changing your lifestyle. I'm going to give you a couple quick, interesting examples of things that you can do immediately to begin increasing your cash flow so you can use that money to do some pretty cool things. The first thing that you can do is take a look at your IRS withholdings. A lot of people don't know that the IRS actually has a website that you can use so that you don't get a big fat refund at the end of tax time. We see all the commercials where you get your money back from your tax refund, and a lot of people really rely on those to begin to build their future. The problem is you're giving the IRS a tax-free loan. So if you go to the IRS website, look for the withholdings calculator and go ahead and enter the data, including any mortgage information, your pay stubs, all the information about your income and expenses. It will give you an idea of how many withholdings to claim so you don't get a tax refund and you don't pay taxes at tax time. Wouldn't it be better to keep that money in your pocket? So for instance, if you get, say, a $3,600 refund almost every year, that means you're paying too much to the government in your paychecks. When you use the IRS withholdings calculator, it will tell you to go back to your HR department, increase those withholdings, and now you'll pocket an extra $300 a month into your paychecks. Now, don't just go blow that money. Go ahead and begin investing that money. Another way that you can do, that you can actually save money on different things, is by looking for discounts on things that you're already spending money on, or limiting the amount that you spend in those areas. I spoke to a woman and I helped her who actually was spending unknowingly about $200 a month or $300 a month at Starbucks. And she said, you know what, I had no idea. I really didn't want to spend that money. So one of the ideas that I gave to her was to go to Starbucks, get a Starbucks gift card, and limit it to the amount that she's willing to spend. So maybe cut it in half, go to $100 a month or $75. That'll put an extra $100 in her pocket. That one thing actually put an extra $150 in her pocket. She still got to go have her Starbucks, but she wasn't overspending, and she was able to use that money on things that she really wanted to spend on. Right now she can go take a staycation. She can do those things that she really wants to do. And that's what I call a spending plan. So those are a couple of ideas. We have dozens and dozens more. Go ahead and talk to a wealth coach, and they can actually help you come up with many more strategies for increasing your cash flow. You won't regret it. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead and click like, subscribe, share this video with others, and let us know what your favorite cash flow strategy is in the comments below. Thanks.